Hi, welcome back to my journal journey. Today I'm looking at setting up my new journal for 2025. I am going to use the purple, I think it's Penny Doodles from Ups a Daisy. I used the coffee cup one last year and I did really enjoy it. It's the old design of the cover with quite faint dots, but the dot situation, they do sometimes come through when I'm colouring, but it hasn't put me off enough to not use the other journals that I bought because I just love the colour of the outside. I started off by referring back to my notes in my catch-all journal and thinking about what I wanted to keep, improve, start, and stop. As you can see, there's not much for stop. However, after looking at my Nujo spread, these are all notes that I'll talk about later. I realised that I did necessarily want to stop some things, so I'll go over that later. I was planning on using the big one stuff that I got from Ups a Daisy and using that in my new journal setup. However, just to start as a Debbie Downer, I started looking at these titles. They're just repeated on the bottom, which is why I've covered them. And how I could make these titles work on the pages that I'd like to set up. And I was going quite well. Then I saw these full page stickers. Thought, great, I can use that. And there's also matching tabs. My only issue is I don't think the big one came with a font stencil. And if it did, I've put it in one of those very safe places that I don't know where it is. And usually with the stencils, you only get uppercase or lowercase. So I can't recreate this throughout my whole new journal setup unless I spend ages on titles, which I don't necessarily want to do. Then having these titles in this font, then this font, then this font, then this font, it's just not really cohesive for me. So I've hit a massive brick wall and I think I need a break to regroup, reassess. I thought I had my theme all picked out, which is usually one of the hardest things for me to pick out. And yeah, I'm a bit stuck. So I will be back when I've come up with a plan. So I took a break and I had to look through all my supplies to see what I could potentially use. I went through this folder, which is full of items from Being Bethany Rose, Oops bags, mystery boxes, and Fiverr Friday deals. And at the back of the folder, I did find something that I absolutely love. I did have a full-on conversation with you at this point, but unfortunately my mic wasn't actually switched on. I love this colour scheme. So I bought some 2025 items and vinyl stickers because I absolutely loved the vinyl sticker. So I thought that I would do my Nujo setup with this instead. After finding this, I took out the large sticker sheet and matched it with a bunch of other supplies that I could use, taking the main colours from that big sticker in the top corner, and I just chucked them all into an acrylic drawer. I found out some jelly rolls. I sometimes forget that I've got these jelly rolls, but I'm so glad that I picked them out because I use them so much through this setup. And the fact that these are sparkly really helps. I then colour matched some Tombos with my colour swatch sheet, which I keep in the back of my everyday journal. I did have one stuck to the wall, but unfortunately it's become so sun damaged you can't rely on it. I also decided to use a stencil set called Smelly Peach, which I made myself using a downloaded free font off the internet and my Cricut machine. And there's upper and lowercase there. I then found out some stamps. I wasn't sure whether I was going to use them because the fonts didn't match up, which was my main issue with the big one. That will get used at some point, just not this journal setup. And when I was talking about it, I sounded so sad, and it's not going to stop me from getting the subscription boxes. It's just going to make me realise that I've got to plan out. I'm just showing a washi tape which fits perfectly with this theme from the Paper Lobster. I absolutely love that company. And then some solid colours. I don't end up using all of them, but I did pick out a selection that I could potentially use. I'd rather have a few too many items around me than halfway through a journal setup having to go rooting around for more. And the colour scheme fits the cover of the journal perfectly. This one is obviously from Upsa Daisy in their older set of them. So these are the main resources that I've used. I do dip into some stencils, but all the details will be shown at the end of the video. As you can see, I'm just talking away, not realising that my microphone was switched off. I can't tell you how sad I was when I realised. So moving on to the setup, I have got a box of offcuts that I keep in my desk cupboard, and using one of those I am going to make a key. Halfway through last year I decided on a definitive key that I wanted to use for my bullets but I was forgetting them and forgetting to use them because I'm so stuck in my ways. So I'm using the note paper that I had these demarkers on, markers, and I'm making a little flip out for the inside cover of my journal. I've copied most of the little symbols, just tweaking and changing a couple of them. I've never used a key before, so I've got to remember to refer back to it to try and make my to-do list more effective and to make me more productive. So the opposite side of this flip out, I've just used the OG Ups a Daisy stencil in the top corner, which has keys on. I believe it's been updated, so it's got the clear material, but this was bought when I first had a bit of money left over, and I did a big order for Ups a Daisy. So it was my first big order, and these stencils, they mean a lot to me because I was able to splurge. I have always wanted to do a key theme, but never quite worked it out. Not like a normal house key, a proper vintage, old, rusty key. As you can see, I chopped my scrap into two parts. The top part being for something else. I opened this pen and realised that it was mid-leaking, so I got a reusable cotton pad thing out from that I bought from the range. I have a pot of them by the side of me, and they work really well for just clearing up spills, and I just chuck them in the wash. They're slightly stained, but I only use them for cleaning up my craft area, so I don't mind. This pen I got in the big one, and I'm just using it to colour in my key. Luckily it was still usable after all the ink leakage, and I love the silver. Using my stencil with the lowercase version just to write out key. I did it with a pencil first and then went over it with a jelly roll. Sometimes if I know what colour I want the words, I will just write with the Papermate or the Tombow, depending on what I'm using. But with jelly rolls, they're quite juicy and they take a while to dry, so I tend to go in with pencil, otherwise I'd smudge it all. And luckily I got through this whole setup without smudging any jelly roll, which I'm very, very proud of myself for. So just tracing it out with the blue. I did all this before even opening my new journal, because then it looks pretty, and when I stick it in with washi tape, I can rearrange the washi tape, so I know that the first thing in there looks good. I have to say, the front two pages, before you even get to the bullets, are the main portion with the reset flip out that I'm doing now and the key. It's going to be a lot more functional this year. So I found out from a tin of pocket stencils a clock stencil which I'd forgotten that I'd got. I knew I had something linked to time, but I didn't realise it was full on little alarm clock. So I drew it out in pencil. I find it easier to draw it out in pencil just in case there's any overlapping bits. And I'm using this for my reset checklist. I was trying to decide which way around the face should go, and then I had a thought, do I want the face, do I not want the face, the eyes look a bit funny. It was only when I was colouring in I realised the eyes, I think it's the eyes, are the clock hands, which I didn't necessarily realise while drawing it. I have outlined it all with a fine liner. This fine liner is the Unipin 0.5, and this has been a brand that has been an absolute go-to for me for the whole time I've been journaling. I have got others. I've got a Copic one that keeps on popping up, Sakura Microns, I think I've got some King Art ones and some Faber-Castells. I just reach for whatever's in the pot next to me, and I enjoy all of these different brands. So I'm just colouring in the clock, and I'm using the silver for the details again. Just to make it cohesive with the bottom one. I think he looks really, really cute. So using one of my scrap bits of paper cut-offs, I'm just writing out the word reset, just because I have to see the word to be able to work out the middle letter. And I'm starting in the middle and then working outwards either side to get the word as central as I can. I'm not too perfectionist about it, but I do like it generally in the right area. And then I'm using another jelly roll colour, a switch between 4 colours. There's 2 blues, a pink and a purple throughout the whole setup. I picked out the Tombow colours as well, and I have to say I didn't really use them, apart from colouring in a tiny bit on the front page. Past that, they just sat by the side of me. So the colouring in of the titles later, it does all get cut out because it is a very, very repetitive process that can get slightly monotonous. So after creating my reset checklist, I taped them both to the inside of my journal on the hardcover. The old style of Upstairsy front covers has "This journal belongs to" and "My reason for journaling is." So under "This journal belongs to," I found out some stamps which were a birthday present and stamped in a tag just because at that moment I just wanted a box or something to contain my name. So stamped that in. I did do a test stamp, and these stamps were just off Amazon. For cleaning the stamp, I'm just using the cotton pad that you saw earlier. And then last year on the inside of my cover I had a full page sticker from Being Bethany Rose that says, "Dear me, I am proud of you for," and I thought that was a really, really cute thing to include. So I found out this stencil from Upstairsy and just popped in one of the post-it notes and used another one of the stamps from the same set, which is a binder clip, and stamped that above the post-it note. If I was doing it again, I'd do the clip first and then line up the stamp, because I drew straight through where the clip was, but you don't really notice it after I colour in the clip. But I just thought it was a cute little addition, and I am quite happy with it. As you can see, I've stuck in that big skunk sticker just to add and start the colour off. And here's me thinking, oh no, there's a line through my clip. So you can see me colouring in and pausing just to see if that line is hidden enough that it won't bug me for the rest of the 6 months that I use this journal for. I've yet to fill out this post-it note, but I'm quite excited to do so. And I was thinking that the opposite side didn't have much colour, and because I'd already started with stuff on this page, which this is so unlike me to put this much functional stuff on the inside cover of the journal, I decided to stick my vinyl glittery sticker down over the Upstairsy logo. Obviously, I've told you lots of times where it's from. And then the flowers going up the sides, they are coloured in. I'm just using a grey washi tape to back this beautiful firework washi tape so that it doesn't take anything away from the pattern of the firework washi tape. I am absolutely obsessed with the washi tape. I love it so much. I've just used the grey washi tape to stick the flip outs on the inside cover, and then gone over the top with the firework washi tape. That was more for aesthetic reasons than anything else. I then go in with a mixture of the Tombows to colour in all those little flowers. They're not exactly on the theme, but they're cute enough, and it just adds all the colours in, so it's worked out really, really well. and I have to say I'm very, very impressed with how this page turned out. And I had a moment realising that although I really wanted the black and silver elements from the big one box, I'm probably even happier with how it actually turned out, with the blues, the pinks and the purples. The autumnal colour palette and this type of colour palette are my two favourites. So this has worked out extremely well because I get to use my favourites in the start of year journal, and I'm hoping with how much I love this start of year journal setup, I dip into it more, which is why it did take me quite a while to set it up. Not that that bothers me, because I mainly got into journaling for the creative side of it, and then it evolved, and then I found out what bullet journaling was. I started it for a hobby, and as something that I just don't really have to think about, and I can just wash away the outside world and just focus on the book in front of me. I'm now in 2025, I think 5 years later, really going in depth with what's the point in bullet journaling, looking at the reflection and the setting of goals and the reviewing, and hopefully over this year I'll elevate my journaling practice even more, which I'm quite excited for. I'm just writing on the post-it note, I am proud of me because, or something to that effect, because every time I opened it, my current bullet journal, to this specific whole page sticker, I thought, you know what, you're doing okay. This page was so stuck to the first page, I decided to follow something that I think I've seen on Joshua Corin's videos of making a pocket. I know I've done it before at the end of journal spreads and in my teaching journal, but I usually do those as a diagonal pocket, not a straight across pocket. So we're trying it. I am using just tape roller. I know it's not as strong as double-sided sticky tape, but there won't be too much stored in this pocket, so I don't have many worries about that. It was more for aesthetics than anything else. I usually just glue the first two pages together. And just to make it cute, I've added some more of the washi tape. I can't believe how much of the washi tape I've used throughout this setup, considering I keep on saying I've gone off washi tape. I don't know whether this has made me re-find the love for it, and I'm just going in with a craft knife and just freehanding, getting a bit more of that page off. There's still a bit that you can see, but not enough to bother me. The right hand page I usually use for a welcome page, but because I did so much on the inside cover, there's nothing on there at the moment, and I'm okay with just leaving it temporarily. I'm finally dipping into my Fiver Friday set and putting down my first couple of stickers, just to make the pocket even cuter. I do come back and add a sticker right at the end, I am that type of person who doesn't necessarily work page by page in my journal. I am setting up my future log on these pages, and I'm just measuring it out so that there are 3 boxes going across the page. I have tried multiple setups for future logs, and this one has just been the style of future log that works for me. I am going across most of the page, just leaving 1 box at either side, and I am ruling in the horizontal lines first. You'll see why in a second. I've done it where I've drawn a whole box, but then I'm not happy with the final look. So do all my horizontal lines first so I know where the boxes are. Then I get my calendar tabs that I make on Procreate, and I tend to, in the summer, make a whole year's worth so that I can set up my work journal. And I set them up in 2 different styles. The one with the notebook page, which is what you've seen most often on this page, or there's one where I remove the background and it is just a calendar tab. I have cut off the month names and the excess white around and stuck them in on alternating sides, and then I close the boxes. As I said, I have rolled out a full box before, but when I stuck the tab on top I could see the black lines through the white sticker, and it always used to bug me, so I don't mind doing it this way because it means that I'm happier jumping in. This is one of those pages where I started off not using it, but as I've grown in my journaling journey, I now use my future log quite a bit. I'm using some very thin washi tape in purple and blue just to bring the colour scheme in and add a bit of something else to the boxes. And usually I rip with the Being Bethany Rose tape tearer thing, but I'm using my craft knife so that I get a really clean line. I have seen some people cut with the craft knife. I always end up going through the page as well, so that's why I'm not doing it that way. Using my stencil, I'm just popping in the first letter of each month, and I'm going to go in and colour it in with the jelly rolls. And then I've also added on each month 3 dots with my shuttle art dot pens that I found at Homesense. I have to say, when starting up journaling, I was really sad because I couldn't find a dot journal anywhere, and Homesense has been my absolute saviour for this, which is why I've collected so many dot journals. But then I found out about different makers, different brands, and so a lot of them are now used for my catch-all journals because I really like the bright white pages, and a lot of them are not bright white. So that's the 1 page done. I do go and complete the other 3 pages of the future log off camera, just so that you don't have to sit through all 4 of the same style of setup. So that's all complete, and then I have gone through and penciled in exactly what I want on what page. You'll see some vertical lines going down. I would like to make Dutch doors for those, so I've just ruled them out where I want them, because there's two different sets of Dutch doors that I've got going on, and just so I know I've got everything that I had planned to include and that I've got them in a suitable order. And then I go away off camera using the Smelly Peach font and the jelly rolls to add in all of the titles. I also changed some of the titles, but they're all included and they look absolutely stunning. So although this took me a bit of time, they do look gorgeous. I am using an old display book which has a plastic cover and my metal ruler to cut my Dutch doors. I then at this point realised that I want some tabs, and each of the Dutch doors only has 2 pages, but tabs just add something else, and so I really wanted them. So I was looking for a tab that I'd cut out using an upsy-daisy stencil. You fold it in half and stick it to the page and it makes a cute little tab. I went to trace around it and realised that no, it just was not going to work. So I ended up ruling out some tabs on the page. You can tell now just by looking at it that that top tab is going to cause me so many issues because something just wasn't right. And then the only downside to using the plastic display wallet is you've also got to deal with the spine, which is a bit chunkier. So I was having a few issues putting my ruler at a diagonal because I've only got a 30cm metal ruler, and when I'm doing jobs like this I only use a metal ruler because when I used a plastic one I used to take more of the plastic off than cutting the paper. And you can see here I'm not the greatest at cutting all the way, so I have to just take little bits off. I've cut all of the tabs and I'm just using the grey washi tape to go on the front and back, and then I trim the washi tape just to make the tabs fit in. I know that you can colour them, but I decided to use the grey washi tape just because it's consistency throughout the book. You can see here I am having a mare with that tab. I still think it's not quite right, but it's better than what it was. I just keep on trimming away, and at one point I had to just say to myself, just stop, because otherwise there'll be no tab left. So although it still looks a bit dodgy, I had to stop. For the decoration area, I've just gone down with full strips of the firework washi tape. Off camera you can see a white edge that's left. Off camera I was debating whether to add another little bit, and I did decide to add another strip on the one side, cut it down, and then with the bit that was left over I put it on the opposite side, so one strip covered both of the little white edges. because they would have annoyed me too much throughout the year. It's not ideal, and the second lot of washi tape I started from the edges and worked in. I also used my little Hobbycraft corner rounder to round the corners of the Dutch doors. As you can see, I'm a bit of a nightmare when setting up journals. I don't tend to stick to let's just finish this page or this job. I do jump around a little bit, and with big setups like this, it works better for me. I know that sounds awful, but it does work better for me because I like to focus on titles, Dutch doors. Then I think I looked at decoration, so I do it in that sort of job order as opposed to setting up all the goals, then setting up the improving page, then setting up the challenges. I just do it in a slightly different way. But if it works for you, go for it. So I have added that extra bit of washi tape, and now I'm going in with some of the stickers from Being Bethany Rose to add a bit more decoration and bring that gonk aspect all the way through, which I'm very, very excited about populating it because I do love these little characters. For my notes page, usually I add a border, however, today I have not. I was going through all the sticker pages over and over again, and they ended up so spread out across my desk just so that I could fully see everything that I've got, and I decided to add these little tears in the top and the bottom corner just so that there was something on the page but that it didn't take up too much space. I also added a little gonk in the other bottom corner. I was going to say, I'm not sure whether that's a now thing that I did or a later on thing. I think I might have done it now. Yes, I did. And for the review page, I've added some decoration, but I have not set it up yet. And that's okay because reviewing and reflecting are part of my learning journey this year. But I did want to make sure I had sufficient decoration, which will make me want to come back to it. Usually for my Nujo page, I tend to leave it quite blank. However, I was having way too much fun sticking all these stickers that I decided to add some to this page. The only problem I've got is I've got very odd stickers left. I need to find somewhere to use them now. Some of them could potentially go on the review page. The only pages I've not yet completed are the goal pages, and this is because I did some research. As you saw at the start of the video, there was lots of notes on my Nujo page in my current journal. and I'm sitting with it for a little bit to really maximise what I want out the goals. For these boxes, I'm using the Up to Daisy Rainbow boxes. I like how they're all measured out. The only problem is when I come to use the longer rectangles, the plastic tends to move. So I don't reach for them all of the time just for that reason. So I find them quite fiddly when doing the longer sides. And I have got notes, wins, challenges, and next journal as my titles. Can't believe how much these jelly rolls have been used throughout this setup. I'm doing another flip through. I'll keep on doing flip throughs until something catches my eye that's not quite done and complete. Or something can have a little bit of extra decoration. I'm measuring out the centre of my page, so the future me, which is future me problems, if I did the word problems I would have taken too much of the page, and with it being a Dutch door anyway, I wanted to maximise the space available. So future me and the wants are going to be in 2 columns, and I'm using the N95 just to draw out the lines, just so it's less daunting and it's not just a blank page going in. I used to think, oh no, what's the point? But now I actually really quite enjoy doing this, and the N95 is really quite faint. So just going around the stickers, and I know I'm doing a low/no spend challenge, but we all still have a wish list. The budget I'm not setting up just yet because it does tend to change in the new year. I'm using these 12 boxes over the 2 pages for the no low buy and a challenge a month page, and each box will represent 1 month. I'm only going up to month 6 because this journal will only last me approximately 6 months. So there's no point putting the rest of the year in, because once the journal's finished, I won't go back to fill in front of journal stuff for the last 6 months of the year. There is no measuring out when putting these boxes down there, completely random. Just for something different. I spent a bit of time thinking about how I'm going to put them down, and then in the end I was just like, Louise, just stick them down, which is why they ended up being so random. And then using the other 6 boxes for the challenges side. I do come in after this with my Stationery Pal month stamps and just pop those above the stickers so I know that which sticker is which month. That's more when I'm looking back at the pages because I do occasionally flip through my old journals. For the fact that there was no planning for how these sticker boxes went down, I was quite impressed with myself. Then I found some more decorative stickers to just fill up a little bit of the white space. And I do have quite a lot of fun flipping through journals, just adding stickers. I was trying to decide where to put that rip one. I'm quite happy with my diagonal placement. Just coming in with those stationery pal stamps. Just to add something else. I did do all black ink for these setups. I was having an issue with my black stamp pad because I'd stored it upright and all the ink had obviously, I say obviously, but I didn't realise at the time, had gone to one side of the ink pad, which is why I was having an issue throughout setting up this whole set of collections. I've got these stamps and the days of the week ones. If you can only afford one, I'd say get the days of the week ones because I've used them so much more than this set, only because they're so small. But they are good. So the last part of my setup is my improving and my media. I'd like to set up a media journal, but this is just to keep everything until you get to put it over into your designated space. And my plan is just to write a list of things. This is the last part of my setup. If you want the goals pages within the next month or so, when I've completed them, I will upload a video. Thank you very much for watching. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Only a few days till Christmas. I hope you're treating yourself well, and I will leave you with a flip through and the resource list at the end of the video. Thanks for watching. Bye!